Hi, I'm Camille,
And I'm Kate,
and we are the
the
Flashers.
Flashers.
We'll get that
And
right.
we are the fastest women alive.
Wait, what?
Ugh. Which, by the way, on that, yesterday I was telling someone about our podcast and I was like, yeah, we're called the Flashers. And she kind of looked at me and I was like, no, not like literally. And like kind of did this with my jacket, like I was flashing. But, and she's like, oh, yeah, about the Flash. And I was like, yes. That.
So anyway.
So, I've got some tidbits, and we have a correction to make. Last week we got our Batman movies mixed up, our 90s Batman movies mixed up.
Aww.
I know, it happens though. We were talking about Uma Thurman and Arnold Schwarzenegger as Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze, and I think we said Batman Forever, but that was actually Batman and Robin. A friendly, lovely listener totally corrected us on that, which is cool. Yeah, thank you. Feel free to let us know when we say something wrong or whatever. Because the comic
in a nice way.
Yeah.
Don't just be a dick.
Yeah, be nice. Like our lovely listener Sam was.
He was supposed to stay anonymous, wasn't he?
Oh. Well, he's not now.
There's a million people named Sam. But thanks, Sam.
Yeah, because the comic book world, it gets confusing, and sometimes we just say stuff. And if you have a question or comment, you can email us at theflasherspod@gmail.com. But yeah, so that's our correction. Sorry about that.
It's life.
There's a lot of Batmans out there.
There are.
But yeah, so I have some things from last week's episode that I wanted to share with you because I was pretty excited about this, maybe. But it seems that most people kind of had the same reaction that we did, that Barry basically didn't have a good reason for changing the timeline again. Like he basically, I think you said that he was going to forget his memories anyway, so what was the point of him screwing things up other than, Iris?
Right.
So yeah, I found, this is paraphrasing for sure, but Forbes, a guy named Eric Kane, wrote an article in Forbes, or I found it on the Forbes website, which I thought that was all money. Apparently it's money and the Flash. I don't know. But I took some notes on the things that he said, and basically he was like, the alternate timeline wasn't that bad. Like, he had his parents back. He was developing a relationship with Iris. Cisco was rich, and he owned Star Labs instead of Harrison Wells. And Caitlin was a baby eye doctor, so like, it wasn't that bad. Like, okay, yeah, Iris and her dad weren't talking, but who cares? And then something that he said was interesting, in that it never said Wally was actually dead. It just was like, yeah, he's not healing in a speedster way. That doesn't mean he's dead or
dying.
Because didn't that happen to Barry at one point where he kind of lost his speedy healing?
Yeah, he did. I can't remember exactly the circumstances. I feel like maybe if for once they would take these people to real hospitals, they might get some different results. Like, just take his mask off and take him to the ER. Like, that's what they do. I get it. You have a very fancy laboratory there, Cisco, but do you have an MD? No. And I mean,
Caitlin's a bioengineer,
no.
Is she no, she's not a bioengineer. I'm sorry. I think I'm getting something confused. I read something where she was like engineering or some sort, but I don't know.
But in this world, she's a baby eye doctor. So, like, not that they don't have basic medical training.
That's right.
However, she's been working on baby eyes for the last how many years?
Right.
So she's not very versed in abdominal puncture wounds, I guess.
Yeah, I was getting my timelines mixed up again. But, and so that was basically, and I think that was just kind of the overall feel of everything, was that he really didn't have a good reason to go and kill basically both parents, not just his mom, because in killing his mom, he then kills his dad. But the thing that this guy wrote that was like a mic drop moment for me, that I was like, oh, dang, he went there, is he said, and I just read it in a voice that was just very like blunt and like, ugh. But he said Barry needs to stop sorry, I wrote really terribly. Barry needs to stop using time to trade lives for lives. Oh,
What?
does that not heavy to you? I felt like that was like I think he even called him kind of having villainy qualities because he was so selfish. But I was like,
Willy-nilly with other people's existences.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
which
that's definitely, I mean, it's not a, and, that kind of leads us into parts of the episode where
yeah.
Papa Flash, as I like to call him now, was like, dude, what the F? You got to stop messing with stuff. Just live
Yeah,
your life. Be a
which
hero, and heroes can't always fix their mistakes.
hmm which by the way, we're kind of jumping ahead in scenes of that, but since you mentioned, um, did you or did you not find Barry to be a disrespectful little poop head? And I wrote something else that's a bit more abrasive that I called Barry, and I would never call Barry something so rude because I adore him, but he was being a jerk. Like, I don't want to hear what you gotta say. Like,
I've heard it all before.
yeah,
I know what you're talking about, but
yeah,
clearly you've not learned your lesson.
yeah,
So maybe someone needs to say it to you 5 more times. And I think the fact that he has Barry's dad's face, he's Barry's
yeah,
Barry's dad's doppel, that it was definitely probably a bit more impactful because then you see, well, jumping ahead, you see some changes in Barry's attitude. But so let's
yeah.
get back to, I
I
guess, kind of
totally
the
get it.
beginning.
Oh, wait,
Uh,
but I have one more thing.
oh, yeah.
Okay, because last time I was like, where's Harrison Wells? Well, he wasn't in this one again, but I read in an interview that he's going to be here. Funny version, like not like an intentionally funny character,
Oh,
like
okay.
kind of like a light-hearted humor part of everything.
So yeah, well then let's because I was gonna kind of question that as well since he wasn't in this episode, if whether or not he was coming back at all.
Someday,
Um,
someday
but
my
yeah,
whispering angel will be back.
your blue-eyed whispering angel, Tom Cavanaugh.
Oh,
All right, so we are, if you've not caught on, we're talking about season 3, episode 2 of The Flash, which aired this week. So I kind of teased on my Twitter account. I was like, hey, all I can say about this week's episode is wizards everywhere. Which, if you don't know what that means, you soon will. Okay, so can I start with Barry never being able to be cool with his time travel? He
what do
is
you mean?
the worst with not letting on that he doesn't know what the heck is going on. So it's
Oh,
like he's talking to someone and they'll be like, yeah, that happened 3 weeks ago. And he's like, oh, well, I just thought we'd talk about it again because I'm still lost on that fact. Or he'll say something and they'll be like, yeah, Barry, we know that. And he's like, no, yeah, you do, because he's like just never sly. And maybe
yeah.
that's like a character. I mean, clearly it's a character flaw of his. He's just so nerdy that even when time traveling and with his superpowers, he's still socially awkward in those situations and where he knows exactly what's happening, but he has no way of being smooth about getting the information he needs. Like he doesn't just start a conversation, he leads in with these horrible, awkward comments or questions about what's going on, things that he should clearly already know. Like when the police captain, Joe was like, oh yeah,
Oh
Captain
yeah.
so and so. And he's like, oh, he's back?
Oh yeah.
Like, really, Barry? Come on. Like,
Shove, shove, nod,
just
nod.
like I'm not going to tell anyone what's happening, but also I'm going to let on that I have no, like I've clearly lost my mind, which is the better choice apparently, to just act like a crazy person.
That
So yeah, good old
that
Barry.
that all confused me. I had to just kind of stop thinking about it because when they would make comments like, "Yeah, you've been working with him for a year," I'm like, how? How did that happen? And then I was
Yeah,
just like,
because when he went to the other universe, I think he had only been there for 3 months.
and then he came, or
But
maybe,
so something I kept forgetting that I had to remind myself, and actually the pre-episode recap reminded me of is that
Barry's dad is dead.
Barry's
Because I
dad is
needed
still
that.
dead. Yes, and Iris's mom.
Oh yeah.
Just so you know.
Who else?
And
Who else?
it's that the reverse flash brought Barry to this point. So we have
Hmm.
no idea where he's brought Barry. And when he leaves Barry on the porch, he's like, well, I'm back where I need to be. You might be okay, but probably not. Figure it out. So I was like, oh,
Ha.
so yeah, we've definitely, of course, he explains that he has now splintered time to the point, or the universes to the point where it's completely, he can't go back to the original. But I feel like also the Reverse Flash kind of played
That's some
him and
sort
was
of
like, I'm just going to put you somewhere I know I'm okay.
yeah.
You, on the other hand, may be screwed.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And you may have a better perspective on this because my first note is just that Cisco is sad. Because that's nobody wants to see Cisco sad. But you being an actress, like I could imagine that's probably fun for the actors to get to change it up and not just be, happy go lucky Cisco. Like he gets to be sad, which I mean he's been sad in other episodes, but not just
Yeah,
being
it's
one
odd that,
archetype.
right. It's odd that you bring that up because I was actually going to mention that. I think with the new storylines they have, it does really give the actors a chance to do something different. Like we've seen Cisco sad, but we've not really seen that kind of angst, for lack of a better word, that depressed, morose type of just like devoid of joy.
Right.
And, we haven't seen much of what's going to happen with Caitlin yet. She seemed to be about normal. But yeah, it does. It definitely gives the actors a different dynamic to play with, a different way to present their characters. I'm interested from that kind of standpoint how the stories will be developed from here on and how much those new attitudes and character traits, backstories will play into future episodes and their performances overall because yeah, it was definitely a completely different side you saw to Cisco. I think we've seen a little bit of that same thing from all the other characters. Again,
Hmm.
not so much knowing so much right now about Caitlin's new story arc, but for Cisco, it was definitely a big change. And I wrote poor Cisco.
So we're both sad for
Yeah, we're
Cisco.
both sad for Cisco. And then, Diggs from the Arrow, which I don't think either of us watches, but apparently
No.
he now has a baby boy instead of a baby girl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, poor them. So
Mm.
it was interesting on, like you said, that actor front to see that change. And but kind of going back to the actual characters themselves, I'm kind of excited to see like Caitlin, what's going on with her, because there was a bit of surprise at the end of the episode teaser.
Hmm.
And just really how much else, like you already said, you read that Harrison Wells
Oh,
is going to
yeah.
come back, but in a bit of a different type of character. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that. And with all these husks, I don't know if there's like, yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's just a lot to delve into. Hopefully this season, it'll hopefully be really, really good.
There's definitely more to look forward to, I feel like, than the first episode. I think the first episode felt rushed and like they were trying to get to a point where, Barry needed to change things again, but it was rushed and it just seemed, superficial.
Right.
And so I think this episode gave more than the first one for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of now that you say that, because I know one of my biggest gripes the last time was that they didn't show enough of the universe that he
Hmm.
was in when his parents were alive to kind of show the contrast. So they did
Yeah.
definitely make up for that with this new universe. And I think they also possibly did that to get away from the storyline in the comic books
Hmm.
because there's no way they could keep up with that because
Okay.
we don't have Cyborg in this universe. We don't have Superman, Wonder Woman.
Right.
So he actually, I think he called it in his current universe a Flashpoint paradox.
Hmm.
So I feel like they're trying to keep that, but just with a different kind of set of rules to make it their
Yeah.
own little story, which is it's hopefully it'll turn out to be really well. This episode was better, like you said, a lot better with building a universe than the last one. I am very upset. I was highly upset with no Kid Flash. I just
Us. Mm.
my heartbreak is palpable over not seeing Wally as the Flash for potentially the rest of this season. I feel like we're gonna actually have to wait till season 4, and that's a bummer for me.
But, there's also Jesse.
I don't, whatever. I don't
I
care.
mean, well, I feel like that about Wally. I feel like that about Wally because, of who his sister is. Um, it makes it really hard to like him. But I mean, I think it'd be cool to see a female Flash. I mean, Jessie is a Flash in the comic books. In one of them,
Yes.
I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, especially if Harrison could come back, maybe although yeah, Jessie was totally annoying season 2, just always complaining about not being around her friends. Like, just shut up, like make new friends.
Just wait till you get older and you won't have any friends ever.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
so get used to it.
And then you have to, when you move out of state and you have to start a podcast with one of your best friends so you can see them once a week. You make a way of doing it,
Yes,
Jessie.
you
You make it work, you sniveling little brat. Goodness.
So angry.
Sorry. Don't know where that came from. But can I just say, the beginning of this episode, Iris West's yellow top was completely unprofessional for her job. She was wearing a strappy, silky little yellow top and then says, I gotta get back to work. And I'm just thinking, you're a journalist. You may or may not have a doctorate degree in this thing. Let's put a cover up on. Let's dress a little bit more for the part, Iris.
Kate, you can't police women's bodies like that. You know this. It's so anti-feminist of you. I'm so ashamed. I didn't even actually notice her costume. I did notice, however, her hair seems to be like twice as long, which was annoying. Yeah, it was really annoying to me for some reason. Like, stop with that. But that just might be hair envy.
I am not policing anybody's bodies. I am understanding the reality and that if you work for a newspaper or whatever, you probably have a dress code.
You are being respectful of the business casual dress code that is in most corporate America settings. There you go.
And whenever I saw her when Barry was going back and forth, and maybe this is also because I'm 85 at heart, and she was more covered up, and I was like, that's much better, Iris. Way to follow the dress code.
You now look like a respectable young lady.
Yeah, I would believe maybe some of the things that you wrote in your journalism stuff.
Dissertation.
Yeah, in your stupid dissertation in your blog about the Flash.
Oh my goodness. So I wrote, I don't know if you maybe have something to say that comes before Papa Flash. Do you?
Let's see. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You go first then.
Okay. Mine are so weird and random. Well, one, I wanted to know about how you felt about Tom Felton because you like Harry Potter.
Draco! I screamed Draco out loud at my television when he popped up. It was, and I can't believe I skipped that note. I totally did. Wizards everywhere.
Yep.
Draco is on the scene playing a very, I don't know, maybe I kind of get the feeling that Barry might be a little bit of a dick in this universe. Or maybe he just doesn't like nice people. I guess it's he says at the end, it's because I can't trust you that I don't like you because you always acting shady.
That's fair.
So, Tom Felton, Mr. Draco Malfoy himself, is now a part of the Flash universe. I love when my nerdoms collide. It's always fun.
With far less blonde hair.
Yes, less blonde for sure.
So while you, Camille, will go into the deeper acting type things, I will stay surface level and offer you that point of view. Can I just say that in a scene with Barry and Tom Felton next to each other, I was like, he definitely has British hair and he definitely has American hair.
What does that even mean?
I don't really know, and I don't know if I've really even met any British people, but there was just something like it wasn't quite a mullet, but it was definitely like messy and like maybe kind of like thinnish, like Prince William's hair was.
I do believe the actor does have probably thinner hair.
He's had to bleach it for like most of his childhood.
Yeah, he did bleach it a whole lot, so that probably. But I think he has like a really
British.
I don't think it's called a It's not a widow's peak. It's like the reverse of a widow's peak. Like when it goes like that, instead of looking like a vampire, it kind of goes the opposite way and makes like
Oh,
cat ears on your head.
gotcha. But
Yeah.
yeah, it just kind of like it wants to be flowy, but it's not, because there's not a lot to it. Almost like,
As long
and
as he doesn't cross into Donald Trump territory,
oh,
we're good.
ah, so much could go there.
I
But
just brought
yeah,
down the room. Sorry.
no, you're good. But yeah, and then Barry's is like that typical, like short on the side, kind of done but not done up top, like styled. It was just, I don't know. It just
It was
again,
very short because even in character, they commented. I think Joe was like, "Is that haircut altered your memory?" Because it was super short. I don't know if maybe he did
hmm.
another project or he had a bad haircut on set one day, so they decided to write it in. But it is very, very short.
Hmm.
So right now, I don't know what that's about, but it is very kind
Probably,
of like the whole Richie Cunningham type of very clean cut
yeah,
American
yeah.
boy type of look compared to a more maybe let's say floppish British invasion type of hairstyle. He was very kind of maybe
Ooh,
Ringo, a little bit Ringo, Mr. Draco Malfoy slash Tom Felton.
yeah, we'll say that. Yeah, I think that's something that cracked me up. So I mean before we get to Jay, there was we meet probably our I think you got your wish of not having a speedster as the main villain. You have Club Alchemy,
Yes, Club Alchemy.
which by the way, we wondered if there was a Club Alchemy. There is, we know for sure in Connecticut. I think it was New Haven.
Yes, we did Google
And
that.
yeah. So if you live in Connecticut and you're listening, you can go to Club Alchemy.
See if there's
Um,
a bird-like man mask
yeah.
there. Oh,
So Cisco calls him Dr. Alchemy. I call him, was it Dr. Alchemy or is it Professor? No,
doctor.
I
Professor,
can't talk.
Professor
Yeah,
Alchemy.
I'm gonna get a drink of water. So I'm gonna call him Club Alchemy. But
Club Alchemy. I like that.
thanks. Um, but yeah, so Clarice or Edward is he remembers the other timeline.
Yeah,
He's
the
or
bird
he's
wizard. The bird wizard, who may or may
Club
not be in
Alchemy.
Ravenclaw. Club Alchemy. He apparently he has the power to draw alternate
Give.
parallels, no, alternate universes, consciousnesses into the present. But it also
Something like
seems
that.
like it seems more of the way that, what was his name? Clarice?
Clarice, Edward, Eddie.
Eddie.
No, wait,
Ed,
there's another Ed.
there is another Eddie. So
Oh,
Edward, the rival, there we go.
yeah.
The way the rival described it, it sounds like he was having a past life remembrance. Things like you would hear people who say, "Oh yes, in my past life, I was a queen of the Nile." Um, More along those lines. So for some reason, he's able to breach through, I guess, the time space continuums, if that's what that is at this
Whatever is
point.
happening.
I
Yeah.
have too much sci-fi in my brain to keep it straight. It's all wibbly wobbly. Time
Yes.
wibbly wobbly.
It really is.
Um,
Um,
so yeah, Club Alchemy. He seems like he's going to be interesting.
he
I'm excited to see what's another man behind a mask.
call the Scooby Gang. Can I Club Alchemy, he kind of reminded me of like a reject from Charmed or Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I did get a Buffy feel. Okay, so the reason I
Yeah.
got a Buffy vibe from him was because we know there's supposed to be a musical episode coming up, and we talked about
Right.
the musical episode of Buffy. And in that, there's a demon who is making everyone sing. So I
Right.
was like, oh, if he's like a wizard or something, that's a perfect excuse to make everyone sing, is because he's casting a spell. And, that's going to make everyone burst into song. But I
Yeah.
guess he hasn't done any, well, he did a little bit of dirty work himself, but it seems like he's more of a manipulator behind the
hmm
scenes guy. So I'm interested to see what kind of metahumans he pulls out of the woodwork, since he can apparently draw them from the other worlds, other Earths, it seems.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's other
Just
Earths as well as the parallel, or do parallel Earths count as parallel timelines count as other Earths?
I don't know. That's a question for our for our people,
Yes, let us know how
listeners.
exactly does that work.
Or what do you
If all 20 of our listeners.
Yeah, well, I believe that we were in the 30s last time I checked, which was pretty good considering we thought it was just going to be our moms listening.
Our moms and our significant others, we have
Uh,
expanded our market already.
yeah,
That's good for a second episode growth, you know.
I think so. So something that cracked me up was when Club Alchemy was talking to Edward, and he was like, "Do you?" I think he was talking to him about his past lives that he was seeing or whatever, and Club Alchemy was like, "Do you want this or do you want this?" And then Edward was just like, "Yes," and
I
he's
want that.
and then it was like in my head, I was like being Club Alchemy. I was like, but I gave you a choice. Which one do you want? You just said yes. Do you want this one or do you want this one? Yes. I
Yeah,
still
no,
need you to choose.
I get that you're saying yes, but which is the yes to? See, I feel like that would be us, though. We're like, okay, good. Wait, which one? Right, no, you just said yes, so I just need to know. Okay, but was it the first or the second? The second? Okay. Okay, good. Then yeah.
Do you want me to choose? Okay, well, I'll
Okay,
just.
well,
Okay, I don't know.
I feel like you should take the powers.
If you want to
Otherwise,
just.
my whole goal here is unachieved. So if you leave it up to me, I'm giving you your powers back, buddy. Yeah,
um,
he was very easy to sway as well. It was just like
yeah,
instantly, the moment you had a second option, you took it. It's bad negotiating, buddy, and you paid for it in the end.
you did. And then my note right before I have Jay Garrick exclamation mark, which right below that it says Dawson's Creek exclamation point. um, but I put ultimatum, stop crying, Iris. So she was annoying me. Um, and
I
she
don't
gave
even
Barry an
remember what you're
ultimatum.
talking about.
I don't know. She gave him an ultimatum. Like I think it was like you tell me what's going on right now or whatever's going on between us
Oh,
ain't
okay.
happening. And I was just like, I'm sure I've given an ultimatum in my life. I know I've given an ultimatum in my life. Probably in every relationship I've ever been in. I don't know, which is very limited. Um
All two ultimatums.
yeah, but I know I've cried. I cried like I said when I watched The Princess and the Frog, but Iris, stop. Stop.
You just don't like Iris. I feel like anything she does at this point, you're just gonna be, that's horrible. She could save a baby, and you'd be like, you didn't hold the baby's head while you caught him as he was falling off the building, Iris. You want the baby to have a broken neck. Jeez.
Let's be realistic. Iris is not saving anything. No babies.
No baby saving for Iris. Yes.
I
Well,
I want to say I had one positive thought about her during, or maybe I think I tried to develop a positive argument toward her reason for being on the show. I mean, other than it being in the comic books.
you know, her being an established character for the last, however many years, right?
I try to wrap my head around why I don't like her, and a part of me thinks that, and I almost don't want to say this because I'm not trying to be mean, is the actress. Ugh, I'm gonna skip past that. Anyway,
To be continued, maybe.
I don't know. I just don't. I don't like. But I also, when you brought up Smallville, I don't remember liking Lana Lane either. No, not was that her name? What
Yeah.
was her last name? Lana.
Yeah,
Was it
Lana
Lana
Lane.
Lane?
Yeah.
Um, and if you watch, I think that there's just those annoying characters in these shows, and like Lana Lane, she was kind of annoying. And if you watch Supergirl, Lucy Lane is kind of like that, just annoying and not really sure why she's there, other than this one dumb reason. And I don't know. I have no point in saying this. I just
Well, um I think there's a bit of a Mary Sue element to those characters. So there always had to be, let's think about when a lot of these comic books originated. Women
right.
didn't have a lot of positions of power. You weren't going to see a whole lot of female superheroes. I mean, the guy who did Wonder Woman based it on his apparent BDSM relationship with his 2 wives. He was a little ahead of the game. So him creating Wonder Woman was just for completely different reasons than these other guys had for creating their characters, I feel. But, a Mary Sue, for, those who might not be familiar, is an idealized and seemingly perfect in every way character. They're kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of a wish fulfillment character. And I think a lot of times they're that crutch because they are the ones who maybe the hero was always saving. That's his girl Friday in some ways, his girl next door. So you have like Mary Jane to Peter Parker, Flash and Iris. You have Batman and whatever that first woman was that apparently he was in love with. I don't know. Superman and Lois Lane. So yeah, I think you're always going to have that one character that, and I think for you and me personally, we don't always identify well with them because we are not that type of
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's probably true too.
Yeah, we're not that type of girls personally. Like we're very kind of, not to say that Iris, I think they give her a little bit of a take charge attitude in this, but she is still so much kind of the love interest.
And that's something that I've noticed that is also irritating, and not just in these shows with comics, is that it's like she's obviously like this anchor of a normal life and love and all that for Barry, and something that he's kind of coveted his whole life. But then it's like, oh, I know how to box and I know how to shoot a gun. I wanted to be in the police academy before I had to just decide to be a journalist and do dissertations and whatever. And so it's like there's I feel like there's not a normal balance in a way of being a woman. Like, not that, I mean, I've shot guns. I feel like there's obviously, there's
different types of women.
Right, but it's almost like 2 different extremes in these shows with them. It's like, I can do this, there's no in between, and then there's this, like it's
a very slow development between the two, which I think is what I feel like that's possibly what we're going to see with Caitlin, because she's always been kind of the nerdy, quiet, not so much nerdy, it's just like very smart, reserved, quiet. And then you saw her alter ego, Killer Frost. And, again, spoiler for the end of the episode, sorry, when you see what Caitlin's going through. It's going to be interesting. I keep saying it's going to be interesting. I'm so sorry. That's annoying. I'm looking forward to
the interest
the interest that she will have. But to your point, we'll be able to see, maybe, are they going to take it to that extreme other end of the spectrum then? Is she all of a sudden going to be a badass crime fighting chick, which could absolutely be the case, or is she going to now turn evil? Maybe we've been taken to the timeline where she becomes Killer Frost somehow.
Yeah. I guess I think that's kind of, and if you watch Supergirl, Lucy Lane's kind of like that, where she's, she's smart and she's pretty and she's this, but she's also, do you work for JAG or she's with JAG. She's a lawyer with the,
I used to know what that means.
The
show, they're Guardians of the Galaxy.
But yeah, she's a lawyer with
Judge Advocate Generals. Judge Advocate somethings. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
But yeah, she's kind of those 2 extremes, kind of like Iris. At least I think so. Where there's just not, I guess, an authentic kind of balance. But I like Caitlin. I always like Caitlin, and maybe that's because, like you said, she's easier to identify with as far as we are. But one day I'll stop rambling about Iris West, but probably not, because I'm sure
that's okay.
This is like therapy for me. I feel like I just learned something about myself. So
you hate some women?
No. I mean, probably, but no.
But no. All right, so let's move on to Garrick. I don't think that's his name, dear.
Wasn't he Jay Garrick? Wasn't he the original?
Jay Garrick was the. Oh, I don't know. Wait, what do you mean, Jay? Are they all Jay Garricks?
Wasn't that the one that isn't his dad Jay Garrick? And then fake Jay Garrick took his identity and was like, yeah, I'm Jay Garrick. And then Caitlin was like, hey, I like you. And he's like, just kidding, I'm Zoom. Jay Garrick is in a mask in a cage in Earth 2. Oh, by the
Oh,
way, let me take this mask off and I'm your dad's doppelganger. Say what?
I missed
I
that.
don't remember.
So,
I don't
okay.
remember whose parents are dead, but I can give you all of that. Right?
I don't remember that
Isn't
his
maybe,
parents have died, but I
but
remember Jay
maybe
Garrick.
not.
I
Okay.
you could be absolutely correct. I am not going to argue with it. I'm sure someone will correct us at some point if that is incorrect. However, yes. So I started by so we start with Barry once again deciding, just F it. I'm going to travel back through time. This is too difficult. And I was like, yeah, Barry, that's the way to fix your time traveling F ups is by creating more time travel. How does that seem like
Yeah.
clearly your thought process is a little muddled? But then we get to see who I like to call Papa Flash.
Yeah. We'll say Papa
And
Flash because we don't know
Papa,
who
we
he is
don't know
at
who
this
he
point.
really is. And Papa Flash is laying down the law in 1998. And it just now clicked to me your Dawson's Creek reference from earlier.
Right.
Wait, was
Yeah.
he the dad in Dawson's Creek? Am I,
Was he?
or was that the guy
I
from the
never.
Dukes of Hazzard?
I'm gonna look that up real quick.
Yeah.
I didn't. I was a little too young to care about Dawson's Creek at the
I
time, but I
feel like that
remember
would
my
have been
sister
like a
watching it.
really weird wink, wink, nod, nod. Because Dawson's Creek is a very particular, like they could have picked Friends for a 90s TV show that was
Right.
easily identifiable. But anyway, Papa Flash,
Ah.
though, is, however, the original Flash from the original television show back in
Mm-hmm.
the early somethings,
80s maybe. Ah.
90s.
I'm looking it up right now. Um. And that if somebody had to bring me back for like a reboot, like if I was in an episode in a TV show, and then 20 years later, and they're like, "Hey, come back, be the mom" or something, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to get some work done. Let
But
myself
that's,
go."
well, hopefully, well, they did it with, I mean, look at Mark Hamill.
Oh,
They all did it, Carrie Fisher, and Mark
yeah.
Hamill even came back because he was the jokester or the prankster in the original Flash as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they brought him
Um,
back to reprise his character completely, which I thought was really, really intelligent for them to do, especially with the, Star Wars movie having come out around
mhm.
that same time. A lot of hype around the Hamill. And
And he
there
plays
was something
the
else.
Joker. He
He
plays
plays the
some
Joker
in the
in
cartoons. Is it the
cartoon.
Joker?
Yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah.
he's the Joker for sure. He's now in most nerd circles considered to be the Joker, the voice of the Joker,
Ooh.
and just as Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman for many
They did a
fans.
They did a wink wink nod nod. He is the father from
Sweet.
Dawson's Creek,
Dawson's
Mitch
Creek.
Leary.
Let's see. I watched
Wow,
Dawson's Creek a
that's
little bit, which I don't know why. Not like I could relate to anything happening in that story.
I don't think anybody can relate to any of the things that are happening in any of the teen dramas that have been on the WB or the CW. Because I used to
Oh, the
watch,
WB.
yeah, I used to watch One Tree Hill, and I was just like, why am I doing this? Like, none of this would happen, and if it did,
Why?
yeah, like, and that's like obviously the Flash isn't going to happen, unfortunately, but I'm fully aware that that's not going to happen. Like,
Right.
um,
That's at least blatant fantasy. But
right.
oh, that's what I was going to say to your point about bringing back people. They did. Did you know for Supergirl, they brought back the original Supergirl from the movies to be her mom,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and Dean Cain
Oh,
plays her dad.
yeah, yeah, I knew that, and I thought of you,
Yes.
and I meant to text you that, and because I want you to watch that show. I really like it. Deborah really likes it too. And by far, speaking of female characters, I think Callista Flockhart. What accent was
I don't
that?
know. I thought you were dropping an F bomb there for a moment.
Flockhart. Is just amazing in that character.
I'm gonna
I feel like she just has a lot of little layers to her that she pops out here and there. Do you not?
I've never watched Supergirl,
Oh,
which shame on me because my acting coach is one of the characters in the show.
what? Which one?
Glenn Morshower, who plays Lois's dad, General Lane.
Oh,
General Lane is my acting coach
well, he's a real jerk in the show, and it's believable, and I want to punch him in the face, and you can let him know that.
I will let him
Um,
know next time I see him in class that you want to
that's
punch him in the face.
Yeah, you should definitely watch it. Season 2 just aired, or just started, and they definitely did a quite a shift in that um, in the season opening, whatever episode 1 of season 2 for Supergirl, and I dig it. I dig it as female and all that. I know I just totally ragged on some females. Anyway, back to the Flash.
Back to the show that we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah, it's hard though. I mean, they mash up. They do their thing. So we're going to,
crossovers.
yeah, crossovers. Yeah.
The,
So one of the things that irritated me when Barry was like, when he was talking to Papa
Flash.
Flash. I'm wanting to say Papa
Smurf.
Smurf. He was like, life was out of control. And I was just like, life wasn't out of control, Barry. Stop being so dramatic. Like,
it was you. It was just you.
yeah, like Wally may or may not have died. Like, you don't even know.
You made a
ah.
yeah. You didn't wait for anything to actually happen.
Would you say that he made a decision in a flash?
Oh.
Oh.
He made a flash decision to go back in time. But I'm hoping now, hopefully after Papa Flash had the little tete-a-tete, heart-to-heart, we will now be done with time travel.
But probably not.
But it's Barry, and Barry gonna bear. You know, Barry's gonna bear. So I might be jumping ahead a little bit with my next note was Barry, still not the fastest, not even the best fighter. Why not? Why don't you take a self-defense class, Barry? You constantly get your butt kicked by all these villains. You would think by now you'd have taken some Krav Maga, some basic judo or karate classes, join the local Jodo.
Have Iris teach you, because apparently she's
Dodo. Because I was thinking judo. Dojo. Join a Ugh, I'm going to stop. Just, okay, you talk now.
Work on some stuff, Barry. Yeah, I remember thinking, okay, well, two things. And I asked this out loud to Devry, which shout out to my husband who edits and produces this for us.
Thank you, husband.
Thanks. You're the best. But I was like, are they just racing? Is that how they fight? Because they get all like geared up and they have their arms and then they just start running and I'm like, what is that? And then it made me want to play Injustice, the fighting game, to see what the Flash does. And I remember some moves that he does. But we pretty much have to eliminate fighting games from our house in order to keep our marriage going. Because I get very, very upset.
A little too competitive.
Yeah, one time we went to a nickel arcade and we were playing that, and it was supposed to be fun and like, oh, childlike, and well, he was beating me at Tekken, so I threw his coins on the ground and walked away.
You're a little out of control.
Yeah, I think that was before we were married, and he still wanted to marry me.
He still walked into that. So you're just
But yeah, also shout out to my husband. He bought me Rise of the Tomb Raider 20th anniversary. So I've been playing that. I've abandoned my child and my husband, and I've been playing Tomb Raider for the past 2 days.
I'm to dive first from our course again here. I cannot have video games at my house or gaming consoles anymore because of my addictive personality. So, but I say that knowing full well I'm going to buy that new mini Super NES system that they're coming out with, the one that has all the 40 games digitally uploaded, and it's like the size of a hamburger. Have you seen this?
Ooh, hamburgers. No.
Have you seen this? Oh my god. Oh my goodness. How could you? It's a Super NES console. It looks like the old school one where you had to put the little thing in and you blow in the cartridge, right? It looks like the gray one.
Like a Game Boy? It looks like a Game Boy?
No. It looks like the actual home station one. You know where you lift up the little lid and you stuck your cartridge in?
Yeah.
Those smaller and digitized so that there's 40 original NES games built into it.
Ah,
I may never leave my house again.
well, that's
Ever. Once
okay.
that's, and it's only going to cost like, I think they said no more than $80,
Hmm.
which seems a little low, but hello. And then Sega says they're going to do the same thing for their original game console. And
Ooh,
I predict myself buying those and never having another productive moment in my life.
yeah.
Good times.
I'm surprised Derek hasn't told me about
That's
those. Probably
probably
because he knows that probably because, yeah, like either one, he knows I'm just gonna not be listening, or two, not that I was so listening to you because I would have been interested. Or I don't know.
he knows
I
that's
don't
the
know.
end of any time you spend with your family.
Yeah,
Now, if
probably.
they
Or
come
the
out with a
kids.
Nintendo 64 console that's like that, and there's Cruise in USA on that via, I will definitely never. And Mario Kart, those were
Oh,
my jams.
we have Mario Kart. You should come stay with us, even more so. We play
Okay, so
Mario
I
Kart.
tried playing the new Mario Kart on the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
I'm horrible. I can't. It's like, I was that person who always like tried to jump with the entire controller
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
up and down, but when it's literally the Wii, every motion I do controls it. I couldn't get the hang of it. Maybe with some more practice, but I played it at a party a few weeks ago and I just sucked and it made me very frustrated. So I stopped playing.
We have one that is the Wii controller, and then one that I believe is a Nintendo controller connected
Yeah,
to the
so
Wii.
yeah,
So you
that's what
can
I
have
would
that
need.
one.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
need the original like 64 controller to be able to dominate.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
yeah, then there'll be a competition between which one of us is more competitive. And Devery will leave the house with the
Yeah.
baby.
And then we have no longer a podcast because our friendship has ended.
But yeah, definitely. Yeah, back to the point. Barry, take some fighting lessons.
Mm-hmm. And some
Um,
running
and
lessons. I
some
don't know.
because you're not the fastest. You keep being wrong on that front. Maybe now that this guy's gone, I was actually really glad because I was afraid he was going to be the villain the entire series,
Yeah.
and I really didn't want another speedster villain. But I feel we're going to get a nice hodgepodge with Club Alchemy being the big baddie to defeat at the end and save the princess, which will be Iris, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And
Well, and speaking of Mario Kart, I don't like Princess Peach either. Um,
she is just a victim of her circumstances, okay?
I don't think Daisy is. I don't think Princess Daisy is at all.
No.
Anyway, I noticed on the opening that he, and I don't know if they're gonna always do this, and they probably have to, but remember in season 1 and 2, he's like, "I'm Barry Allen. I'm the fastest man alive." And this time it's like, "I made a mistake," and
I kind of effed up my life,
and everybody
and now we
else's.
got to make it right. No,
Yeah,
it's so one, I hate that freaking opening credit voiceover. I've always hated it. After like 6 episodes of season 1, I was so over it.
yeah.
I get why they do it, but after half the season is done, just drop it. Like if you're not caught up to this point, then why are you watching the show? Why are you starting the show in the middle of the season in the first place? Like if you don't know what's happening, just go Netflix it and catch up because I really don't want to hear Barry talk about himself in the opening credits anymore. But that's just me. I have a problem with voiceovers. Voiceovers in movies and TV shows drive me crazy.
Much like Iris West drives me crazy, or maybe not
Much
as much. Or
Probably not as much. I'm probably slightly more tolerant towards those things. But I didn't notice the change, probably because I phase out at the beginning of every episode
yeah,
for that reason. So that's an interesting little tidbit. It's nice to hear he's owning up to his mistakes
finally. No.
finally and not, going back to change them. It was a very sad scene with Cisco
Yeah,
and Barry kind of confronting their
complicated too.
complicated feelings about time travel and life saving. So for those who, I mean, if you don't know, I don't know why you're listening to our podcast with all these spoilers, but
Sorry.
we find out in New Universe, because I feel like we've glazed over some of these things. In New Universe that we're in, Cisco's brother Dante has died from
Uh,
what I found surprising that it was a drunk driver and not a metahuman or
yeah.
something of that nature because he was so angry at Barry. I thought it was a metahuman, but he's really just angry at Barry for not going back in time and fixing it so that his brother doesn't die. And then we had Joe and Iris who weren't talking.
For the
Find
reason
out
that
it's
you
because
said. Right.
because he knew about her mom and never told her. I think I said he took her back and she resented it. Yeah. So I wasn't exactly there, but it did have to do with her mother and not telling her that she was alive, which was a dumber reason than the one I came up with. Like, and then Barry was like, "Oh yeah, she forgave you for that, though." Or I think she would forgive you if we, talked to her. Like, Barry, be cool, man. You're in an alternate timeline. You got to be cool.
This is really a dumb thing to say, but whatever.
It's not stopped us so far.
It certainly has not. Okay, so I like carbs. I like noodles, but when he's going back and forth and they're talking about the freaking noodle dish, like, I don't like the chicken dish. I like the noodle dish. Like, shut up. I'm sorry. But that was just, I guess it was supposed to be funny, but it was just, why didn't you guys choose a different, like, I felt like it was like The Sims whenever they're making like their first dish whenever you're playing The Sims.
Oh, and they can only make the one thing.
Yeah, it's like pasta carbonara or something like that. And I want the noodle dish. Like, what? And then I was looking on the table when they were at their get together, and I was like, where are the noodles? I see salad, I see vegetables, where are the dang noodles? Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. Like, I just imagine writers in a room and they're like, okay, well, if she doesn't like chicken, what would she like? Noodles. Like, what?
I like noodles. Why wouldn't Iris like noodles?
Yeah, I mean, I like noodles too, but
now that we're talking about it, it reminds me of all of those old TV shows and like especially like cartoons where the main character would try to be in two places at once. Like they double booked for some reason, or like Richie had 2 dates the same night, so all he does is change his jacket and go from one table to the next.
At Al's on Happy Days,
right? Are you Al's or like? And the Flintstones, because that's what I originally thought. Like Fred's trying to win the bowling tournament while taking
Wilma.
What's his wife? Wilma out for a hot anniversary date at the restaurant across the street, and so he just runs back and forth, and you end up with a date who's using the bathroom the entire night.
Yes, or you can, Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah.
Jinx.
Oh, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Age-old television and movie trope of trying to be 2 places at once and not getting found out.
But in this case, he literally can do that in a sense.
He's the only person to be somewhat successful at that attempt. So there you go. Good job, Barry. You got something right for once.
But you know who would be much better at that than him? Zoom. Rival.
You know who's faster? Zoom. The rival.
Every other speedster in Central City.
Probably Kid Flash. Yeah. Speaking of Kid Flash, and you mentioned Jesse being a speedster as well. I know this will never, ever happen, but I would love if Danica Williams from the Justice League, I can't remember, what is it, Justice League 2.0 or something of that nature. She's a Flash, she's a speedster, and she's a black girl.
Oh.
Future cosplay goals, by the way.
I think I remember you saying that. Yeah,
so I would love if Danica Williams made an appearance in the Flash show, and they could cast me. Actor goals. Hey, what? So anyway, back to the current episode. So we find out Barry. Did you have anything else? Because I'm about to go into how Barry finally reveals his deep, dark secrets.
Oh yeah, gosh, we haven't even gotten there. Yeah, go to that. I think I'm done with noodles.
Is the noodle issue solved?
I mean, I don't know where the noodles were, but
Iris ate them. You already don't like her. Just say she ate them all. She's a horrible, selfish person who doesn't save noodles for anyone.
She did say that, though.
She did the end. She did eat all the noodles.
He was like, "Did you save me any?" And she was like, "Nope, sucker."
But at the same point, exactly. I was like, she just told you that she and Joe finished off the noodles, and then you say, "Did you save me some?" What do you think finished off means, Barry? It means we ate them.
Yeah, the writers were a little, I don't know, they they couldn't answer a direct question. They just put yes in there.
Put
Just
a
put a noodle
yes.
dish in there. Barry doesn't know what polished off means, so just have a mask again.
Maybe this is a fancy new term they didn't use in his last universe. No one ever said polished off. It's the
Yeah.
1920s, huh?
Ah, see? The rival, or not the rival, the reverse flash, huh? Yeah, jump on to that.
Yeah, so we have Barry has now revealed to everyone his big F up, time
Mm.
traveling, basically saying, I've altered all of your lives for the worse. And sorry, but I'm not going to go back in time anymore. And I have to live with what's happening here and now. So I'm hoping, on one hand, I really want there to be another big F up in this new universe to where he's like seriously debating going back in time. You're like, you know what? I can't deal. I'm just going to go to somewhere else completely. Hopefully it'll be better. I'm just going to go to World 2, Earth 2,
Earth
or
3,
it can't be
4.
any worse because I've screwed up my life enough. So then we have, a touching moment with Cisco and really reveals, I basically, my mess up resulted in the death of your brother.
Yeah.
And I can't go back and fix it because I can never travel through time again because I clearly don't know what I'm doing. And it's never a good thing. Which I feel like was a very big pill for them to make Cisco swallow.
Yeah, pretty
And
quick.
yeah, I just like kind of get over it, dude. I'm the reason your brother's dead, somewhat.
Yeah.
And at this point, there's nothing else I can do because well, his reason was also kind of dumb. Well, if it's not you, it's going to be someone else whose brother dies. And you're like, but he's your best friend. So you maybe make that sacrifice for him, right?
I think it mirrored I feel like my accent just came out then. Mirrored Barry's selfishness a little bit, or that kind of conundrum of just human self-centeredness of Cisco hearing, oh, so you could do it for yourself, but whenever I ask you for this one thing, you say no, and he's just like, well, it didn't work, like I tried it with my own parents and it wasn't gonna work, so you should just chill. Like, it's sorry. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I feel like it kind of heightened that feeling of like just selfishness and crappy human nature, basically.
Yeah, it really does. And then again, but in the long run, we have a new character trait or character story for Cisco, the actor, to play with. And
Hmm.
now we get to possibly see some vibe action because he made a super sweet glove and saved Barry's
Yeah,
life. What?
yeah. I think
And
that was my
superhero.
last note was Cisco getting in on the action.
Yes.
Which kind of going back to the emotional part of it, when they talked about like, oh yeah, everybody makes mistakes, and
Oh, and remember when you told uh,
yeah,
Mr. Freeze, not Mr.
or
Freeze,
Captain Cold.
Captain Cold. Yeah. Oh my gosh, these villain names. When
I
you told
know.
Captain Cold who Barry was.
Yeah, it was like I told him about somebody that has superpowers. Like, yeah, I shouldn't have told his, identity, but he has superpowers and he
His
has a team like behind him. This is not the same. This is not like no, this is apples and oranges, guys. Like
My brother's
really?
literally dead because of him.
Yeah, but remember that one time when you did that thing, Cisco? You jerk. Like,
You should feel bad about that instead.
remember when you were trying to keep your brother alive? And he was being tortured, and then you gave Barry up for
And
your
he
own
died
pride?
anyway, so there you
Yeah,
go.
I guess Barry got his revenge.
Barry's very long and convoluted revenge on Cisco and Dante.
Yeah, that's what this is really about. It wasn't about his parents. It wasn't about anything else. It was about Dante
It
and
was all
Cisco.
about Dante.
But
So
yeah, now I have one more character that I have to remember is
is
dead,
dead.
which is not easy for me, apparently.
I feel like he wasn't so major, so you'll probably
Yeah,
just forget he existed
and I did until
until they brought him
until they brought him back.
and
And
killed him
yeah,
post mortem.
yeah. But yeah, Cisco doing his vibe action. Which apparently in the comic books, he's one of the most powerful, has some of the most powerful powers, I guess you would say, in the comic book world.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is he
So,
faster than Barry?
uh,
Probably.
yeah, it's hard to say, but probably.
Who isn't at this point?
Yeah.
And then, speaking of powers, at the end of the episode, or close to the end, Barry, again, not being smooth or cool at all, is like, yeah, Caitlin, unless you want to work on baby eyes. And she's like, what? And he's like, never mind, alternate universe joke. You wouldn't get it. It's
I
like, dude,
know.
you can't bring that mess up if you told them and y'all all agreed never to talk about it. Like you can't make
Yeah.
those jokes. And then we see her develop, or we see
Show.
her show her Killer Frost powers. Her ice powers have apparently manifested at some point. She's kept it secret, clearly, but she also didn't seem very surprised. So this has happened before now.
Yeah. I
But then I
Here's
hated
my
her. I hated
thing.
her face at the end of that, though. Can I
Yeah,
say?
that's what I was about to say, is that I don't understand why she looks so like my head,
My hand is
like,
so
like,
cold.
yeah, like afraid of it, or I don't know. Like in my head, I'm like, that's so cool. Like cold
I get.
margaritas always.
Come on. My drink will never be room temperature again.
Exactly. Like I would be like, that's so cool.
Well, I get it from a point
Great.
of her like not wanting to tell anyone, so she's like, "Well, crap." But it's not like it kind of happened. I think the way they set it up was weird because Barry leaves and she raises her hand and it's all going icy. So I guess it's a spontaneous thing that happens, or is she controlling it at this point at all? Is the question. And then her face, one, clearly it's happened before now because she wasn't completely freaked out.
But
But two, I
perhaps.
think she was supposed to be like kind of ashamed and scared of what others might say. So maybe that's where she
Hmm.
looked a little bit frightened, but I feel like it was over exaggerated. Like, because she just stared at it for like a good 30 seconds and you're
Yeah.
like, we get it. Like, I feel like if you were afraid of someone walking in on you to see your hand, because Barry could have turned around, anyone could have walked back through the door. Like, yeah, you just hide it. Like, you try to control it, you shake it off, or you try to get rid of it, and then you walk out looking embarrassed and slightly frightened. But that's just an actor's note, I guess. The director went in
Yeah.
a different direction.
I feel like she realized like, oh, yeah, like the reason I have this is because of Barry. Like it makes sense. Like I'm
Um,
like like that jerk that just walked off and said I could have been a freezing baby eyes on
I could
accident.
be freezing baby eyes, not the scientist at Star Labs. So
um
yeah, maybe she does think it's because of Barry and not
yeah,
realizing that she was gonna have that fate anyway.
yeah. And it's interesting because her doppelganger was obviously Killer Frost, and how, I mean, can your doppelganger have the same powers as you? Because I don't know.
Well,
Barry
yeah, I feel like they're all fairly because Vibe in the first time we see Cisco really using Vibe powers is through his doppelganger in
reverb,
Zoom's
right?
universe. And so I feel like your powers are the same. It's just how you end up using them
Yeah.
that really makes the difference.
Um, I don't mean, I feel like I'm being really kind of negative, and I'm not trying to be, guys. So sorry. Um, I get, yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around what I expected in the Flashpoint. And obviously it's very different from the first two seasons. But didn't you, I don't know, I got kind of irritated with the, hey guys, like we decided that we don't want to know what happened in our other timeline. We forgive you, Barry. Like it was just kind of like after school special, you know what I mean? Like it was just,
A nice
I
little
don't know.
bow.
Yeah, and I was just, and like I don't know. I just feel like I've never noticed that or never felt that way about them before, you know? Whereas before they were like, you want to go on a retreat? You want to do this? Like,
You
you know, and
jerk.
like, yeah, and like, you know what? We decided we don't want to know because everybody makes mistakes, including you, Flash. Like, I
Everybody
don't
makes
know.
mistakes. So anyway, we get to, I feel like we've run way over time. So we get to the end of the
There is no time.
episode. I feel like, I mean, we can't go back and change the
This podcast can be as long or as short as we want it to be. We can do this all night.
Yeah, I mean, who cares about the listeners having to endure us for an hour?
They're in traffic. We're in traffic. Everybody's in traffic.
Everyone's always in traffic. You're listening to this in
It's
traffic
true.
right now. We're recording this in
Yes.
traffic right now. This is live from I-35. So Barry makes a reference at the beginning of the episode saying, when he's talking to what's her face from the Arrow.
Felicity.
Yes, thank you. He's like, yeah, apparently every time I kiss Iris, I go back in time and mess it up. He was so angry. It was so funny how upset he was at his own. I can't kiss Iris without going back in time and erasing it from her memory. And so at the end, when we see them on the porch again, kind of paralleling the way last season ended,
Mm-hmm.
when they kissed and, the end title card pops up that says The Flash,
Yeah.
I jumped because I honestly thought someone had come to kidnap her.
I think I thought that too.
I thought she was about to be kidnapped. Like any second, someone was going to come up and take her, or she was going to disappear into thin air, or something was going to happen to mess up the kiss moment.
I thought that too. I was like, I think I'm saying it out loud though. I was like, somebody gonna take her? I hope somebody takes her.
Two different reactions completely.
Yeah.
I hope she gets kidnapped too. Oh God, don't let her get kidnapped for story reasons.
Well, I thought she was gonna get kidnapped. I mean, she was obviously gonna get saved again.
Well, yeah, again, I don't want that to become a recurring theme.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. That's exhausting.
It is very exhausting.
Is that kind of it for the show?
Yeah, I think that's it. So I don't know. I watch it on streaming services, so I don't watch it live. I don't know if there's a preview of next week's episode to be seen. We do see that apparently if you fail at doing the job Alchemy has set out to do, he will send some kind of robot creature to murder you in your jail cell. So there's no more rival, which thank goodness, no more speedsters right now.
Was he murdered or was he just given a good shakedown?
He was given a good throttling. I'm pretty sure when a giant robotic arm shoots out and grabs you by the neck, it doesn't end well in most cases. I feel like that's a kind of end game type of move.
Yeah, probably. But maybe not. I don't know. I feel like having him there for both episodes just for that, I don't know. I feel like it's a little abrupt, but who knows? They bring people in and out constantly, so.
Well, I think, I feel like it's definitely going to be part of Alchemy's villain tribe, Evil League of Evil, to have this guy who goes around and does his dirty work.
Yeah.
And who apparently can break into jail cells and do so. But it's, wizards everywhere. That's going to be the theme for this season. That's going to be my theme. Wizards everywhere.
My theme is Club Alchemy. Boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants.
No one can see our sweet dance moves.
I know. Okay, well, that's it for the episode. Do you want to say your 3 characters again? Because I think you changed them.
We did. I wanted to get back to that because we, if you listen to the last episode, we chose our 3 fictional characters that represent you or that you think to best describe you. And when last we left, Kate and Camille, I had decided on Dorothy Zbornak from Golden Girls, Princess Tiana from Disney's The Princess and the Frog, and Allison from The Breakfast Club. And then I text you the next day and I was like, I don't like any of these people. Mom. I hate them all. So then we text each other for the next 30 minutes trying to refigure out our characters. And so my new and final determination, I am Maxine Shaw from Living Single. Why? Because she's all about her business. She's all about her food. She's all about her sex life. Guess what? Those are 3 important things that I can relate to. She needs her food and shelter. She needs her loving, and she needs her money. That's all she needs. She's happy. And she's brassy and fun and crazy. I love her.
Smart, yeah.
Still Dorothy Zbornak, because again, the social justice warrior in me and the old woman in me and the snarky, making horrible, snarky comments at Rose and Blanche and Ma, Shady Pines. That's all me. I should probably send my mom to Shady Pines, considering she, for the second time, apparently set her microwave on fire.
Oh, maybe she was
Yeah,
using a microwave.
maybe she should stop using a microwave. She's clearly forgotten how. So anyway, Dorothy Zbornak, and then April Ludgate for the win from Parks and Recreation, because I am a little dark cloud sometimes, but I also deeply on the inside care about love and relationships and the people in my circles. But I am also doom and gloom and want to murder people and drink their blood, and I'm a wizard, and dogs and puppies should be given the best life because they're better than people. And I do have an alter ego like she does with her and Burt Macklin. I can't remember the name of her alter ego, but Andy Dryers is Burt Macklin, and she has one. But mine is Janet Streets.
What?
Yes, and Janet Streets is a hard-hitting news reporter who is typically seen on the streets reporting about local interesting stories. And she's Janet Streets, and she's live on the streets to bring you this human interest story. And occasionally they have to send her out for real stories, and she makes horrible, horrible puns at like a murder crime scene. So
how did you come up with that?
Me and my significant other were in the park one day, and I was reporting on a boy flying a kite, and it turned really dark really fast. I was like, Janet Streets here reporting about local child murdered by his kite. No more high flying times for him. So yeah, there's a whole thing. I love her though. Janet Streets, check her out.
April's person is Janet Snakehole.
Oh, Janet Streets and Janet Snakehole. I didn't even do that on purpose.
There
awesome. So I am literally April Ludgate currently. Awesome. So yeah, so we talked about your new 3, correct? Did we choose a new 3 for you?
I don't think so. I think I couldn't decide. I just decided that I have absolutely no idea who I am as a human being.
No. Well, we both knew that you weren't Helena from Orphan Black or any iteration of Tatiana Manzalet's character portrayals in that show.
No, I don't think so.
No, you are Britta.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that.
You are Jessica Day.
And I have a hard time with the third one because I feel like there's like those are relatively happy, happy-go-lucky people, but I definitely have a side of me that's not happy-go-lucky and fairly pessimistic. So I don't know who that would be. So
well, originally I had given you Cisco.
Yeah.
Which may fit now that his character has a little bit of doomy gloomy in him.
Yeah, that's true.
But I see what you're saying. We might need to find a bit of a more nuanced character.
Yeah, but and then I had said Barry because I don't want to go back in time all the time.
No.
Or change things.
No more time travel. Stop
it. So yeah, I think I don't know. I'm cool with just 2 people. I saw somebody had used E.T.
Oh, no E.T. We'll find you some, or maybe one of our listeners can give us their opinion based on the 2 podcasts we've done.
I'm a little scared because I think most of me is saying something mean about Iris West. I hope they don't say like Regina George from Mean Girls. Oh, that made me so sad.
Or you could be Regina from Once Upon a Time.
Oh no.
Okay.
That's okay. So I have a new question for you, and I've asked.
You could be Snow. Well, no, think about it. Like Snow has that happy, peppy side, but she also gets kind of dark sometimes, and she's struggled with some things in the past and her own decisions, like when she killed Regina's mother, kind of by accident on purpose. With the candle thing.
The hell if I'd struggle with that. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll do some deep diving. We're going to answer this question.
Yeah.
For sure. One day.
I almost thought about Frankie from Frankie and Grace and Frankie, but then I was like, nah,
No,
maybe
she's a
not.
little too
Too
hippy
hippy
dippy for
dippy.
you.
Yeah. I don't know. Who am I, listeners? This is my therapy session, so you know.
Tell me who I am.
Who am that makes me think of Zoolander. Who am I? I don't know. I don't never mind. Anyway, my next question for you, and we've talked about this before, but mine has changed. If you could have a superpower, which one? What would you do?
Oh, I don't remember any
I
previous answers I've ever given.
I remember what you said, and I can go first if you'd like.
Okay, yeah, you go first.
Um, well, whenever I was thinking about this, I was like, one, I need to change it because I need a superpower that burns calories. Because in Supergirl and the Flash, they talk about how they need like 10,000 or so calories a day. And I was like, that would be awesome. Just always be
Yes.
fit and always be eating. And I think those are life goals for me. And I want to be able to eat all the time, but also do stuff. But my original one was shape shifting, if you remember, and I think I said I was going to shapeshift into a house plant for some reason, and that I was going to mess with people. And
Oh my goodness.
but anyway, yeah. So I want to be able to teleportation. Is that what it's
Yeah,
called? Oh my god, why can I not think of? Yeah,
but Kirk from X-Men, who's Nightcrawler.
yes. And I
I,
originally had chosen Mystique's his mom's character or thing of shapeshifting, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be Kirk, or I don't want to be Kirk. I don't want to be Blue. I just want to jump around. But then
okay.
I was like thinking about that, and I was like, you know what I would do? I would totally like teleport up into the sky, and I would drop something from the sky.
Oh my
But I wouldn't let them
goodness.
die. I would just I would drop
It's
them
very
from the
nice
sky,
of
and I
you
would
to
catch
just
them.
drop things to not hit people with. I don't.
No, I mean it could be I could be like the new drug awareness person. Like, hey, you want to get high? I'll let you get high, and then this is what it's like when you crash, and then I would drop them, and then nobody would want to do drugs again. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Sorry.
You have very unique motivations for most of your choices, and I love it. It's
I feel like this lets people know what character I should be, that's for
this
sure.
is
But
true.
teleportation, that is for sure his main skill. But yeah, I feel like I'm one of those ambiguous characters that sorry, I did the scratching thing again. Um that wants to be good, but then would do some really crappy things like drop people from cliffs and again, not let them die, just scare them deeply.
Goodness.
Lord help me.
Yeah. Yes, please. All right. So for mine, um, so I have like a couple of original choices. One was always Rogue
Mm.
because I just wanted to be able to absorb other people's powers, and I figured that would make me kind of like limitless on what I could do.
But then you can't kiss anybody.
Exactly. And as we know, Maxine Shaw, part of
Mm-hmm.
me loves the physical touching. So I don't want to murder people by kissing them.
Yeah.
Unless it's Poison Ivy style, then that's kind of cool. Um, a little bit. So then my next inclination is to go with Storm
Mm-hmm.
because, I have my secret desire to be a weather chaser anyway, like a storm chaser,
Yeah.
you know, because I watched the movie Twister way too much as a child. Um, and, being able to manipulate the elements and the weather is like so awesome.
Yeah.
And she's so badass. And sometimes she has a mohawk and she's married to Panther,
Yeah.
which the more I talk about it, the more I think that's actually going to be my choice. So, because my other choice is probably someone not many people know about is, well, she has like five different names. I think right now she goes by Spectrum, or she's been known as, she was for some short brief time one of the Captain Marvels, but like for a different group, Photon. Her real name's Monica Rambeau.
Mm-hmm.
She basically can manipulate and use energy. So she can project energy, she can absorb energy and make like shields. and things of that nature. Basically, whatever energy around her, she can take on the powers of.
Yeah,
And so, like, she can shoot them out of her eyes or out of her hands, like Iron Man.
that's
Um,
cool.
and apparently, she can also change her size, and she can become intangible or invisible.
Oh, that's cool.
So she's pretty
She has a
bamf.
lot going on.
Yeah, and she used to be a cop, so kind of like Misty Knight.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It's between that. But I think the more I think about it being Storm and having, be able to like manifest and manipulate weather,
yeah.
I want to
That's cool.
manipulate things. I just want to manipulate maybe I want to be an airbender. Maybe I want to be an avatar. I want to be the
I
avatar.
I
That's what I
remember
want.
that one of the things that you said you wanted to be a waterbender, which in that you would also be a bloodbender or could be a
Yes.
bloodbender.
I could be a
But
bloodbender. I could be a healer. I
yeah,
could do all that.
so
I like being able to manipulate elements. So
yeah,
I feel like any of those, either the Avatar, Storm, or Spectrum,
yeah,
those would be good choices for me. But if we have to go on the whole badass scale, probably Storm.
yeah. See, and then yeah, I would. My motivation for teleportation was getting to go around the world and just eat.
Eat across the world.
Yeah, and just not have to pay for anything. And you can bring people with you if you touch them. So that'd be cool. But then yeah, I end up using it for possible evil. But then whenever you said waterbender, I was like bloodbender. Yeah, I've got some
Yeah.
people I would bloodbend. Like, so I need to go back to therapy. My goodness, because that's not okay.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Good
There are
time.
so many
All
cool
right.
powers though. But
There are. I think we've officially hit 2 hours. So if we have anyone
oh,
listening still, thank you.
hi.
One. Sorry, two. We'll get a little bit more. We probably won't. I say we'll get better on time management, but we probably just hang in there. If
We're
nothing
hanging in
else,
there.
we're sometimes entertaining.
Yeah, sometimes. And again, this is my therapy session, so I'm sorry if I went over. Send me your bill. Uh, Flashers, what is our email? theflasherspod@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at I might be Kate if you want. That's okay if you don't.
Or
That's
you
all right.
can follow me at the Camille Monet, spelt. See, now I have to spell mine. Mine's not even easy. Damn it. So it's the and then Camille, like the hurricane, Camille, and Monet, Monae, not Et. Which strange little tidbit, little history lesson for everyone. Claude Monet, the famous painter, his first wife's name was Camille.
Hey,
Yeah, so there you go. But
look
that's not
at
how I spell
you.
my name. So, but anyway, at
So
the
forget all
Camille
that.
Monet, forget all that. You didn't learn anything from me. At the Camille Monet on Instagram.
Yep, and that's about it.
That's,
Thanks, guys
yeah, see
and
you
gals.
next week, ladies and gents. And bye.
Bye.